What position was that for that you were applying at that time?
I think it was for a junior assistant. I had no experience as an assistant whatsoever, and it was a very generic description. So this is kind of a weird thing about tech, and it remains true today at most large tech companies, where you apply for a general category, and they just want to find smart people, and then they find the right job that fits you, your personality, your temperament, how you would fit into a team's culture. And so they're just interviewing really for skills. So the general category I was applied for was assistant. And it's a long story, but the mini version of it is 9 months later, I was hired as the junior most assistant to Jeff Bezos, the founder. It was through 3 rounds, each separated by 3 months. So that's why it took so long. Wow. Yeah, it was intense. The first round was with all of the assistants in the company, all the senior assistants. I think there were like 11 at the time. And then I didn't hear anything back for 3 months at all. And so I thought, okay, well, that didn't work out. At least I got an interview, got some interesting practice. I continued looking for jobs. Second time, they called me 3 months later, and they had me come in and interview with all the SVPs in the company. And I thought, this is an enormous waste of time. Why would they be talking to me? It doesn't seem like good use of resources. But what I didn't know is I had done really well. And Jeff was needing a new member of his team. And so because I had scored well, he wanted his SVPs to kind of test me out. What I didn't know at the time was 3 of them had been assigned to make me cry. They wanted to find my breaking point to see if I could handle the stress and the pace and if I could handle myself. But this is where my Redmond upbringing comes to an advantage, because I knew a lot of people who are kind of on the spectrum. They're not like socially very graceful. So I just chalked it up to that. And I thought like, well, that guy's a little rude, but no personal offense taken.
That's awesome.
So I did okay. I held my own. And then 3 months after that, they brought me in. I remember when the recruiter called, she said, hey, we want to bring you in for one more round. And I said, look, at this point you have, I think it was 23 data points on me. You like me, you don't. I'm a fit or I'm not. And she was like, no, I promise, just one more. I'm sorry. So I said, okay. I came in, and at this point I finally had another offer from another company. And I came in, and they didn't tell me I was going to interview with Jeff. She just took me all the way up to the 15th floor. Back then we were in the PacMed building, a former hospital, right up at the top of the hill overlooking all of downtown Seattle. And they put me in this conference room, and Jeff walked in, and I thought, my honest reaction was, well, this is going to be embarrassing. They put me in the wrong room. I thought he was going to be like, oh, you're not this engineer. And my fears kind of continued, because he sat down and he's like, hi, Ann, nice to meet you. I promise I'm only going to ask you 2 questions. And he's like, first one's going to be a brain teaser. And then he stood up, and he had all 4 walls were a whiteboard. He stood up, uncapped a pen, and he was like, don't worry, I'll do the math. And I thought, well, for sure, he's expecting an engineer. What are we doing math for? I got nervous. But he just asked me, to estimate the number of panes of glass in the city of Seattle. And I kind of panicked for a second, and I thought, okay, why is he asking me that? And I thought, okay, he just wants to see the way my brain works. Can I take a complex problem, break it down into manageable steps, and not freak out? So I told him how I would break it down and how I would approach it. And I thought that would be that. No, we filled all of those whiteboards with the math. It felt like it took hours. I'm sure it was minutes. But we finally got to an answer. He circled it, capped the pen, sat down and said, I think that sounds about right. And then his second question was just like, tell me about you and what you want to do here. And by then, because I'd met so many people and I'd done my homework on the company, I wanted it bad. And I think people ask me all the time, like, why would Jeff take a chance on, I had no experience, no technical abilities. No, I didn't know anything about Amazon. And they asked me, why would he take that risk? And I wish I had asked him, but the answer I've made up in my head is, I think he liked that I was smart and asked good questions. I could break down complex things without getting frazzled. I could hold my own among people who were very senior to me. And I was really hungry to learn. Like, I knew that this was an opportunity to get on a rocket ship. And I didn't care what seat it was. Junior most person on the wing would have been fine. But I just wanted it. And I think he felt that. And I also wasn't like starstruck by him. He had been Time Man of the Year in 1999. And everyone in Seattle knew him. He was, one of the first celebrity CEOs. So I definitely knew who he was. And I think a lot of people didn't talk to him like a normal, regular person and got flustered around him. Sure. And here I was, this like 20-year-old who was like, whatever, you hire me